In the beginning of this movie, we see a man named Theo. Earlier, Theo used to be an activist, but now he has left all these works and is living a life named Gum. We are shown in the news that the youngest man in this world has been murdered by some people. That too just because he had refused to give an autograph. After his death, people across the country were praying for the peace of his soul, and women were crying bitterly because he was no less than a celebrity. Just think about a country where you become a celebrity as soon as you are born, and as soon as you come out of the coffee shop, that place is bombed, and all this was not a surprise for him. There used to be attacks, so now there was not much happiness in being alive. In Britain, the police force was arresting and throwing out those people who were not citizens of that country, because the more people there were, the more problems there would be. One day, when he was returning from work, some people kidnap him on the way. He is caught and brought to a small closed room. On removing the mask, he comes to know that his wife Julian has kidnapped him. Theo meets his wife after many years. She was on the most wanted list of the British government because she was one of those people who believed that immigrants should get the same status as the people of Britain. Julian tells him that he wants to marry a girl. She needs his help to get him out of this country. In return, she was ready to give him a lot of money. Theo refuses to do so because it is illegal, and then he catches her and leaves her there. He picked him up and also gave him an address so that if he changed his mind he could tell him. After this, Theo goes to meet his cousin, who has very good connections with the government. He had a lot of money, but he never thought about the future because anyway, in the next 100 years, all the people on Earth will be destroyed. His cousin gets some government documents prepared for Theo, but according to the rules, the girl cannot go anywhere alone with him. Theo's stay was mandatory. Theo then contacts Julian again. They are all ready to leave. Here we learn that Julian and Theo had a child who died in the 2008 flu pandemic, and this is the region. Whenever they talked about their past, there was no chemistry between them. After this, Theo sees the girl whom he had to get out of this country. Now, why was she so important to him, we will know later. While going on the way, suddenly a burning car comes in front of them and blocks their way, and within no time some people surround them. They immediately start running away from there, but some bikers attack them, one of whom the bullet hits Julian's neck and he bleeds to death. Some cops come to arrest him, but Luck shoots them and runs away. It all happens too quickly for Theo to understand. Julian is now dead and Theo cries a lot after seeing her, but it is not right for them to stay there for long, so they leave her body in the forest and go away. Luke takes them to one of his intelligence bases. He goes where there are other people like him. After Julian's death, problems started growing between them. They decide among themselves that Luke will become their new leader. Theo no longer wanted to go with them after Julian's death. She had no reason to do this. All they see on the news is that the police have identified them and will soon catch them. When she learns that Theo is going to return tomorrow, she wants to talk to him. When he goes to meet her, he comes to know something no less than a miracle for him. He sees that she is pregnant and is going to give birth to a child soon. She wanted him to go with her because Julian told him not to trust anyone except Theo, even his people. Theo tells them that we should tell everyone about this child because he will soon need a doctor. Luke tells him that if he does this, the government will never believe that he is the child of an immigrant. They will make him the son of a rich family and use him for their purposes. They had to somehow get to the Human Projects lab, where they were researching the fertility of humans, and perhaps this child was their last hope that humans would be able to give birth to children again. That night, when everyone is sleeping, Theo hears some people arguing among themselves and spies on them. When he investigates, he learns that Julian's death is not an accident but a deliberate move. Luke had asked his men to kill him so that he could become the new leader. He wanted to use the child for his benefit. When Theo comes to know about this, he plans to run away from there. Taking Key with him while hiding from everyone, he takes her car and leaves, but after going some distance, his car stops and he has to start it. A push was needed to do this, and in this effort, he narrowly escaped being caught. Theo no longer trusted anyone, but he hoped that one man could help him. He went to his old friend Jasper. He needed Jasper's dead body to get them out of there, and he couldn't believe his eyes when he realized that he had brought a pregnant woman with him. He was ready to help them get them out of there. The ship was going to come to his city twice, one today and the other 2 days later. He couldn't get there today, that is why he was going to wait there for 2 days. Here we see Jasper's wife, who was an immigrant activist, and she was arrested by the police. Tortured her so much that she became numb forever due to that shock. She could see and understand everything but could not move her body. One night she heard an alarm ringing in her house because some people were trying to enter there. They were trying to escape, and they came to know from the CCTV that Luke had found them and immediately asked them to run away from there, but he was not ready to go with them. He says, "I will stay here and stop them, and you running away from there." Jasper then goes to his wife. When Lou's men search his house, they find no one inside except his wife's dead body. When Luke asks, Jasper pretends not to know, but he is very upset about it. He has to pay a heavy price because Luck shoots and kills him. Theo was watching all this, but he could not do anything to save his friend. The anger of losing him was on his mind, but what could he do now? He was asked to meet a man. They stop in a ruined school and wait for his arrival. After some time, when the man arrives, we come to know that he is a policeman. With his help, he somehow manages to reach the immigration camp. They enter, but on the way, Key starts having stomach pain because she is about to give birth to her child. Miriam was trying to somehow save her from the eyes of the people. We see that there are a lot of immigrants being caught. When their bus stops at a checkpoint, some policemen pay attention to her. They ask her what happened to her, but Miriam starts doing strange things to distract the policemen. She gets angry, that's why they catch her and take her away from there. Kaio knew that the police would kill Miriam like the others, but in such a situation, if she did anything wrong, she too would have to face the consequences. Somehow, she would get out of that immigration camp with great difficulty. They leave there where they find a woman whom the policeman had asked to take care of them. Theo could not tell anyone about the child, nor could he take him to any doctor. That night he was there. She gives birth to a child. She was a girl, and it was the only young child in this entire world. The next morning we see that a man comes to them. He had come to know that the police were looking for them, and that is why he asked them to leave from there. But when he finds out that they have a child, even he gets surprised for a moment. The man tries to snatch their child, but the woman starts hitting him and Theo has to run away. But when the man still chases them, Theo kills him. He did not know the woman's language, which is why he made a drawing on the wall and asked her about a ship. Maybe the woman could learn a little about the ship. There was information, but no one was safe there amid the firing of terrorists. They somehow passed through them and went to another man. These were not bad people. When they saw that child, they felt that it was nothing less than a miracle. It seems that they give them food and medicines to eat. Meanwhile, Theo asks Key to name the child Dylan, but Key tells him that it is a boy's name. We have to think of a better name for this child. After a while, they all start going towards Shiv with the child, but we see that Luke has found them again. His people ask them to get down on their knees. When Luke shows Key his false synth, Key sees a sad look on his face. But she spits him out. He takes Key with him and goes away from there and asks his men to kill Theo. Just as they are about to kill him, some policemen start firing at them, and taking advantage of this opportunity, Theo runs away from there. There were so many bullets being fired that it felt like he was in a world war. Theo chases Luke through them. He hears a child crying from a building. That's when he goes upstairs, he sees that Luke is surrounded by policemen. Luke does not want to take the child with him, but when he finds out that the child is a girl, he becomes disappointed. In anger, he starts firing at them, but suddenly there is an explosion in that building and Lou dies after getting buried under the debris. Hearing so much noise and sounds, the child starts crying. Now the child is in front of everyone. But there was no one there who wanted to harm him. Rather, everyone considered him to be an incarnation of God. When the policemen saw that child, some of them stopped firing for a while and bowed their heads in front of that child and prayed for him. Theo prays and leaves with them, and as soon as he leaves, the fight starts again. The woman takes them to an underground sewer that leads directly to a large river. Theo asks her to go with him, but the woman knew that the boat would not be able to bear the weight of 3 people, so she thought it better to stay back. Theo somehow drives the boat and reaches the river, but they see that there is no ship there. He says that they will have to wait a bit, they will come to save them. She sees that there is a lot of blood on 9. At first, she thinks it is her blood, but we find out that it was Theo's blood because Luke had shot him. begins to worry about him as he is slowly dying when his baby starts crying, so Theo teaches him how to soothe babies and makes him promise that she will name their daughter Dylan, which is Theo and Julian's. We see that Theo's body slowly begins to cool down and he dies. This time she was alone there and she did not even know when the ship would arrive. Luckily, after a few hours, the ship reaches there and rescues its crew members and its child. With this, our story ends here.